Welcome back, Aquarius. Thank you so much for joining me for your bi-weekly messages. We're going to pull some cards for the next 2 weeks ahead for you. My name is Emily Gear, of course. I'm a multi-dimensional channel and a transformative energy healer. If you find that you would like to do a private session with me with reading or energy healing, akashic records work, whatever you would like, you can schedule that on my website, which is IamEmilyGear.com. Okay, I'm going to get into the shuffling and we will just see what comes out for you guys for the next 2 weeks. So Source, could you please give us messages for Aquarius for the next 2 weeks ahead, please? Messages for Aquarius, please. There is some shit that is dragging you down, guys. Okay. So the first card that came out was the Ten of Wands. And I do feel like there's something that's weighing really heavily on your mind. I feel like it is about something that you really care about. I see the little dog down there, and there's like no better symbol for, you know, I mean, maybe a child or something, but I don't have children. I have dog children. So I always think about this as being family and like the things that you hold nearest and dearest. And there might be a lot of concern regarding that. We've got the Two of Cups coming out here. And it could be that, you know, you've been concerned about a relationship or how that's, you know, there might be some conflict that's happening, some kind of burden that is working its way out in a relationship at this time. And this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. This can be a family, you know, mother and son, or mother and child, father and son or child, daughter, whatever. I'm just spitting words at this point. Even like stepson and mother or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is a close bond, but it could be a friend. It could be another family member. It could be a romantic partner. It could even be a business partner. It could even be an organization that has supported your organization, and therefore you feel like you have a partnership or something like that. And there are some concerns I feel that are happening with a partnership. It could be that it is becoming it's becoming stale in some sense, or maybe one partner feels like they're not getting out of the deal what they should be. Okay. That may be you, or it may be the other person and or entity. In some ways I feel like it's a lot of you actually have these sort of business associations, and one of you might feel like you're not quite getting what you need. You know, the other company or whatever is not providing what they were supposed to or what you thought they would. And thought they would. That feels like a very significant thing, because I feel like we've also got the Page of Cups coming up. And so there is this sense of how can we start this over again on the right foot? But I also feel like there's this sense with this card about expectations. And did you actually talk about it? Because maybe discussing what your expectations would be. And it's not just like, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that, but it's like, what are your emotional needs? All right, we are having a new moon tonight, and so this can be the restart, a restart of a cycle of evaluating needs. Okay, with the moon. How can we make this whole again? Is what I keep hearing, and so this may be about your relationship. You know, how can we restart this? How can we make this whole again? How can I communicate to you what I need emotionally, and so we can start over on the right foot? Okay. So that feels very important to me. But I do want to mention that the King of Coins is coming up here. And so this feels a little bit cautionary to me. It almost feels like not super cautionary, but just like, remember to stay grounded. Remember not to let this sort of emotional feeling that might be coming up because you or the other person might feel like they are being shortchanged in some way. Maybe you don't feel like you're being given the respect you deserve. Maybe you don't feel like you're being given the attention you deserve. So remaining grounded, and I don't want to say that you don't get to express your emotions. You absolutely should. But there is definitely a time and a place. And more than that, being aware of and responsible with your emotional reactions is really important to a healthy relationship. It is not a healthy release of emotion to lash out at someone, for instance. That will hurt your relationship or your business partnership or whatever. And it is certainly not helping you. So I think, to me, this is just saying to be aware of how you're expressing your needs, but express your needs, okay? That, there's a burden in this partnership, but the partnership itself seems, at least so far from what I'm seeing in this card, feels harmonious. It feels like something which is worth giving this shot to, or giving this, second chance to. What else do we have for Aquarius for the next 2 weeks, please? It has come out in a whole lot of readings about individuals not feeling valued exactly in their relationships or in their partnerships or whatever. I think Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius had some of that come out. The only one who didn't was Capricorn so far this week. You're getting the 9 of coins with the 2 of swords, and this to me really strongly feels like you have held back communicating what your needs are to feel valued, to feel beloved, or to feel cherished in some way. Now, I do want to say to you, there's also the strong sense here that feeling, that value feeling, actually comes from within you. It does not come from this other person. But I think part of really understanding or feeling that feeling within yourself is being able to express it to other people. Because once you know what your own worth is, then you can teach other people how to treat you, essentially. It is when you don't know what your own worth is that it becomes it can be very damaging for the individual, because they then don't, first of all, energetically, they're not projecting that. But second of all, how are they going to tell someone else how to treat them if they themselves are not valuing themselves, if that makes any sense, right? So that really does need to be found inside first. And it is there. Even those of us, and I say us because I am this way too, even those of us who are just incredibly, incredibly wounded. We're going through the process this year of healing those wounds. And so this is part of that process. So just know, if it feels like you don't know how to express that, you have no idea where to find that or how to find that value, that's because it's just time now to find that value. Because you are worth it. You're worth the work of this other person or organization or whatever. Or your company is doing something great that is worth the investment of this other group. You are worth it, whether you know that or not. But it is time for you to know that, so that you can then break the silence and express this to the other party, who may or may not even know what your expectations are. And I think that's really important, because you can't really blame somebody for not understanding your expectations. That's something I learned really quickly in managing people, that until they really understand or really know what you expect of them, you can't blame them for doing it a different way, right? And they have no idea what your hurts are, what your wounding is, until you express that to them. And then it's on them to treat you in the way that you've asked. But if they don't do that before they know, I mean, there are some things people should just do, right? I don't want to be like overly philosophical about it, but this really feels to me is coming down to emotional needs that are being left unfulfilled because you have not expressed this. And in terms of business, I almost feel like there's a partnership where there was maybe an unspoken expectation that there would be maybe joint publicity or I don't know, a sharing of certain expenses or something like that, and it's not happening. And that's another thing where you just need to very calmly express what your expectations were and talk it through. You know, they are also a sovereign being and they have a choice as to how they react to you. So it's important then to make sure that, like I said, you are this grounded individual who is calm but can also artfully express their feelings so that you can start the relationship over. The next card that has come out here is death. And I do feel like it's this process of knowing your worth and then being able to translate that to expectations of the external world is a huge step for you. That you may have been in that place of not valuing yourself to the point that you did not know what you could expect from other people. Or your expectations of other people were coming out of a place of severe wounding, and so they were coming off as, I want to say, kind of crazy in a sense, because they weren't backed up with the energetic signature of self-love, you know, self-respect. They were backed up by the energetic signature of fear and panic and lack mentality, lack consciousness, right? So this is a big change for you. What else wants to come out for Aquarius, please? I knew this was going to come out. Hermit with the Queen of Pentacles. You've got to go within to find this value. It's in there. You know, I think that you have seen it. You know, it's a light that leads you in a sense. I get a sense of intimidation when you look inside, that there's a part of you that might fear what you will find. And I just want to say, it's all you. There is nothing of the, I guess there's an unknown within us, right? But it is all you. So you are with it already. It is already inside you. You just have to be in acceptance of it. And that's the same with the value, with the light, with the self-love that you give yourself. It's there. You just have to allow it to show itself and to stop. And here is where the message starts to kind of nicely combine with everything else that has been coming out in all the other messages, that this is where you will need to begin to clear away those old mental patterns that talk you out of your own right, your own worth, your own value, that tell you should be afraid to look inside, that tell you that what inside your mind could be telling you that your inner world is ugly, is scary, is not something that you want to look at. And I guarantee you there will be scary things in there, because that's everything, that's everyone. But there's also immense beauty and immense value. And you have to integrate the two. You have to allow them both to exist together. And I think the key word there is allow, because there's no, I'm going to get rid of everything that's dark about myself. We are all light and dark. So any shame that you're carrying, any anger at yourself especially, any fear, all of that is balanced by an equal amount of light within you. We focus so much on the dark that we tell ourselves that we're not worthy, we're not enough. But we are magical fucking beings. And I feel like it's that principle right there that is at the base of this burden that you need to let go. Because that's a heavy burden to bear. Basically, that burden is saying, I am not good enough to have any of these things in my life. I am not good enough to deserve any of this in my life. And so no wonder you're in a position where something is worrisome. And that's not to blame you at all, but in fact, it's to empower you to say that you have the ability to turn this around by setting down the burden of this self-judgment. This insistence upon focusing on the dark when you absolutely, and every other person, including the other person or other group or people that you're dealing with, have equal parts dark and light. It's what we choose to recognize, what we choose to grow. That whole thing about you have the black wolf and the white wolf and which one are you going to feed? Well, I think you got to feed them both, and you got to let them both coexist, because in any other way, you are denying who you are, and that will never turn out well. Will never turn out well. All right, what else? And by feeding, I just mean acknowledging, integrating. I don't mean go do some fucked up shit. Please don't go do some fucked up shit. Yeah, here's this flipped apparently at some point already in the reading, and I didn't notice it. 7 of Swords. This is that thing you're afraid of. This is that darkness you're afraid of. It's in there, and you're just like, I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to deal with it. It seems dirty, but it's in there, and it's okay. Yes, I'm getting this as a real fear of looking at why you don't value yourself in the same way that maybe other people do, or whatever. What was this going to be? King of Cups. Okay. That is pure and unadulterated, unconditional love. And actually, I'm feeling that for this one, that I was kind of in my mind asking for advice, and I feel like this is the advice that comes out, and that's King of Cups. I do feel like there's an important need to connect up to source energy, to the divine, because that is the source of pure, unconditional love. And that is what you are in need of at this time to help you integrate these dark and light aspects. I'm just hearing you have been way too hard on yourself. You have been way too hard on yourself. It's time to treat yourself with some gentleness, with some kindness, the same kindness you would treat anyone else with. It's time to build your castle on that unconditional love and nothing else. Because I do get the sense that there's just been this like caning of you that you're doing to yourself, and you've got to see yourself for the light that you are. Okay. So the point here is that things, relationships, partnerships, all that stuff is going to turn around in your life. And this is the message for the next 2 weeks. So the energy is supporting you really making a change there, and it will all turn around. But the key is unconditional love of self, recognizing your value, and going within fearlessly and not being afraid of the darkness you'll find in there. Okay. I hope this was helpful, you guys. Maybe not my most exciting reading ever, but I do feel like this is a massive hurdle for you. If you can get over it, a lot of good things are going to start coming in. So please let me know what you thought. I appreciate your likes, your subscribes, your shares, your comments. Again, if you would like a private reading, you can set that up on my website, which is IamEmilyGear.com. All right, guys, until next time, hope you have a good couple weeks. Bye.